But on voting day, Super Tuesday, because it's Super Tuesday, Instagram and Facebook are both down. That's to me, that's fucking terrifying.
Oh, it's sending.
The two ways that we all have to communicate with each other on a large scale like that, and then also interact with each other, not just send messages, but things like going live or whatever. It's all shut down right now.
Sending.
Can't send any messages through Messenger. Can't do anything with IG. Boy, that's scary shit.
What is?
I sure hope this isn't the thing. I sure hope this isn't. They're gonna come down the streets here soon with their robot dogs and shit. I mean, I joke about that, sorta.
It's sending a code to a number that ends in this, and that's not any of our numbers.
Right?
Does it say on? Did
No.
it say on yours?
No, it's not. It's everywhere. What's going on? Makes me want to go run and get the kids.
Shit's crazy. I don't think this phone's charged.
Facebook, Instagram down during outage. Thousands affected.
Insane.
22 minutes ago, The Independent says Facebook, Instagram, Messenger down. Meta platform suddenly stopped working in huge outage. Huge outage at parent company. See, this is what I keep saying to you guys. Like when you talk about, when I say, they can censor us, they can individually censor us, blah, blah, because they have to go through a parent company. Everything that we do goes through them. So to think they can't individually do what they want to do to people is rather foolish.
It's all computerized. So you just type in this person's IP address and what restrictions they want on it. Like an app on your phone. They're just apps, on their big old software. They just go in and disable and
YouTube users report video streaming site not working. So YouTube's going down. I still have mine, so is it going to go down here in a minute? There's no, like all of these places are doing this story, but there's no story. An outage beginning around 10 a.m. on Facebook. It may be telling you your password is incorrect. It doesn't appear doing password reset is doing anything to solve the problem. On the other two, the feeds just don't appear to be refreshing. Meta, parent company of the platforms, has not yet released a statement on the cause of the outage or when service will be restored. When does that happen? It's been an hour and they're not saying anything?
because they were ordered to shut it down. What are they going to say? They made us do it? They can't, so they just don't say anything.
Yeah, but normally they'd say something along the lines of like, we're experiencing technical difficulties. Facebook will be up working shortly.
That's already been stated.
Not that it will be up working shortly. That's the point. Is that they haven't released any sort of statement. Facebook, Messenger, and Instagram not working worldwide.
So what about the countries that don't have access to regular Facebook. Like, is there a Facebook compromise too?
It says
China has their own Facebook, you know?
it says it's not working worldwide.
So, all the variations of.
So let's see what this says. Biden administration carefully ramps up criticism of Israel over Gaza war, but stops short of cutting off military aid. Well, of course. President Joe Biden is trying to ramp up political pressure on Israel's government to allow in more humanitarian aid and rein in its offensive in Gaza Strip, but has stopped short of cutting off weapons deliveries to America's main ally in the Middle East. Current and former officials say they have to say it like that. That's how we talk, right? Because if it was like I was like, yeah, I'm heading out to the store with Bob, my main friend on the street who helps me out all the time, to go get some eggs. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Reluctant to enter into a full-blown confrontation with Israel, the Biden administration instead has airdropped humanitarian aid for Palestinian civilians and held talks in Washington with a political rival of Prime Minister Netanyahu, Benny Gantz. Oh, Jesus, they're bringing Benny Gantz back in? Come on, that's just stupid. So how many of you do this? How many regular manly men love to do their tap dancing? We're just over here working on our tap dancing so we could be taught by, old Jewish guys. As rockets fly at north, Gallant says Israel nearing military operation against Hezbollah. So now they're going to fight Hezbollah? Hezbollah is in Lebanon. What the hell does that have to do with the Palestinians?
Well, they winked and smiled at the Palestinians, so they're involved.
Pro-Palestinian protesters cost AOC outside movie theater demand she call Israel-Hamas war a genocide, but she doesn't. A group of pro-Palestinian... Oh, we had somebody here for a second. A group of pro-Palestinian... What the video looks like. Oh, we got to see the Mazda commercial first. I know there's been so many times where I've been watching a video and a stupid commercial airs and I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go buy that. AOC said that they're lying about a genocide. See, remember when I told you all those times that I don't buy the AOC thing? I think that, the squad is just a part of the gig. They're just a part of it. Group pro-Palestinian protesters on Monday accosted Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her fiance outside a movie theater in Brooklyn and demanded that she call Israel's offensive in Gaza a genocide. What else is it? Video obtained by Fox News Digital shows protesters, phones in hand, approaching the congresswoman outside the Alamo Draft House. You refuse to call it a genocide, one of the protesters can be heard saying, to which Ocasio fires back, I need you to understand that this is not okay. It's not okay there's a genocide happening, and you're not actively against it. Protester says, you're lying, AOC shouts back. The video shows the protesters following her down the escalator, continually berating her for not labeling the... Isn't it funny how she's the good guy now? What the fuck? Since when does the news back her? Oh, since she's playing by the rules. Refusing to call the genocide a genocide is her doing what she's supposed to do. So now suddenly the people that came at her were being mean. Mean, I tell you. I wouldn't bother. I mean, clearly it's not working right now, so just chill. If you can't say it, just say it. If you can't say it, just say it. Literally. We're just talking to you like normal people. Just say it's a genocide. Just say it. Over 30,000 people are dead, AOC, and you can't say it for once? Another protester shouts, citing figures from the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza. Just say the word. That's it. That's all we want you to say. The protesters chase her and her fiance, Riley Roberts, outside the building. At one point, Roberts pleads with the protesters to stop as they continue following the couple down the sidewalk. You would think, of all people, AOC would be like, yeah, I am very much against this genocide happening at the hands of the Israelis. That's been her gig. That's the squad. If this was really such a, why wouldn't she say it? What is her big deal? What's the big thing holding her back from saying this word? Why is she running? Why does she look like she doesn't want to get in trouble? It's crazy this hasn't happened more, to be honest, which is... Let's see. I want to see them chasing her down the street.
I can't believe you were eligible for this. That's amazing. Americans on
I love how they... How is this legal that they keep... This scam keeps running? The scam commercial.
It's not okay that there's a genocide happening. You're not actively against it. I'm lying. You're not. You went on TV and avoided talking about it.
They sure look like they're chasing them. Wow, she sure is getting aggressive.
We're not lying. You've been cited in interviews. It's insane. You haven't been called a genocide. Don't tell me I'm lying.
They're not chasing her. They're following her. She's a public figure. She's a public servant, actually.
Literally. We're just talking to you like normal people. Then just say it's a genocide. Just say it. Over 30,000 people are dead, AOC. You can't just say it for once. Just say the word. That's it. That's all we want to say.
Stands out because when people say it, lives are changed.
So when people say it, lives are changed. You're right there, little boy.
It's only 3 little letters, but when you say it,
Oh. The protesters chase her. One of the protesters asked AOC whether AOC is concerned her comments would go viral. A visibly angry AOC tells the protester that they're going to clip the video so that her comments are completely out of context.
kids like me, and me, and me. Because people like you said yes.
She then appears to concede that Israel's actions constitute a genocide. I said that it was. I already said that it was. And y'all are just going to pretend that it wasn't. Over and over. It's fucked up, man. And you're not helping these people. You're not helping them, AOC says. The protesters, clearly unassuaged and dissatisfied with her answer, continue chasing the couple down the sidewalk. One of them mentions her past comments condemning the Armenian genocide. Why won't you say it in front of everybody? Why us? Fox News reached out to AOC for a comment, but they didn't get it. Oh, AOC has repeatedly condemned Israel's retaliation after the October 7th massacre. God, there's this. I mean, this article is just disgusting. It really is gross how they're doing this. You know, The verbiage used and the way it's very, very carefully crafted. You know, they put a lot of effort into making everything work the way it does and wording things just so. You know, the October 7th massacre in which Hamas militants killed around 1,200. So now we're saying it's exactly 1,200 civilians, injured hundreds more, and took around 250 hostages. Do you know how arrogant it is to say that it's 1,200 hostages or 1,200 people were killed? Not 1159, not 1202, 1,200. Exactly. It's just asshole. They're just assholes. She has called for a ceasefire and suggested the U.S. conditioning aid, if not cutting aid, to the Netanyahu government. Just weeks after the October 7th attack, AOC accused Israel of committing war crimes while qualifying that she was not defending Hamas. I mean, again, it's like that in itself. It's your thought that you're not supposed to have anti-Semitism. If you go no, this isn't anti-Semitism. No. You need to be able to be like, yeah, no, I'm very proud of that. Very proud of my anti-supremacy. And that's the game here. You know, they have us completely duped into thinking, you know, oh, while she's still condemning Hamas, because no matter what, you have to say how despicable it was that Hamas killed those 1,200 Israelis. Well, 1,200 people in Israel. You know, I'm sure they've adjusted how they do this now, but maybe they haven't. I don't know. But their way of reporting that 1,200 people in Israel were killed. You know, they haven't said any. They still even here they say repeatedly condemned Israel's retaliation after the October 7th massacre, in which Hamas militants killed 1,200 civilians, injured hundreds more, and took around 250 hostages. Notice how they never say that they killed Israelis. And it just so happens that Israel killed around 1,500 civilians, but they say Hamas militants, within the first few hours of the attack. The coordinated attack. There was nothing was secret about that attack. There was no secret attack. I will, you know, I absolutely 100% believe that. There was no Israelis were killed on that day.
I think you're being cynical.
So? See, but that's just it. That's the point I keep making. Yeah, I am very cynical. We're talking about some pretty fucked up shit, so it's time for my cynicism to you know, come out.
I really don't. We're so far away from there, and we're so accustomed to
But we're
hearing
not.
about trouble in the Middle East that I don't think people understand exactly what the fuck is going on. I don't think they take it as seriously as the situation is. You know,
Well, but
we're not told the truth. We're not shown.
we are
real
told the truth.
pictures.
That's the thing. We're not shown the pictures. We kind of are, but we are told the truth. They
Also,
because they tell us that they've killed 30,000 plus people. They only leave out little bits and pieces. Like they've learned. Like I always go back to vaccines. Instead of us arguing about what is happening with the vaccines and that this is a biological attack on the Goyim population, instead of that, we are arguing over what this shit's called. You know, is it called autism when clearly kids are born autistic? You don't get autistic. You might have brain damage. You might have some sort of damage, but you don't become autistic. That's something you're born with. So when the government tells us, no, vaccines don't cause autism, they're telling the truth. they're not saying, you have to, well, did they cause any sort of damage or problems? That's when the real questions start coming out.
Well, what?
But
why
that's
did
not how they figured out a way to answer things in a truthful way while not necessarily telling the whole truth.
That's why they created the whole on the spectrum thing. You're either autistic or you're not. How did the diagnoses change from autistic to on the spectrum? It's
Well-
to encompass the vaccine damage.
I think the vaccine damage is pretty specific. I mean, I think there's a wide, there's a range of it, but they all kind of does the same thing.
But they just called them on the spectrum. It's to keep from calling out the real cause and
Right.
shedding
Well,
light on the vaccine.
and that's them saying they can't say it's autism because it's not autism.
Right. So they changed
To honest, that's a great point. On the spectrum, that's a great point. Yeah.
they even if you are truly autistic, now you're on the spectrum. You're just on the high end, the total autism.
But
but
that's how they do it with everything.
yeah,
They flat out tell us if somebody opens the books on Israel, that demonizes Israel. You shouldn't do that. Well, that's the truth.
if it
The truth
demonizes
is,
them,
right, if the truth demonizes you, it's because you're doing bad shit. Right. That's what it is. But they've figured out a way to say things. Like, again, why don't they call it anti-Jewish? I mean, it's pretty cut and dry with anything. You're anti-black. you're just whatever. All things have this like obvious sort of connection to them. Why do they choose to use Semitism? Why is it anti-Semitism and not anti-Jewish? Because they don't care whether you believe in their bullshit. The only thing they care about is that you believe they should get favor, which is what Semitism is. So they're telling you flat out, it's not about whether you believe our stuff is real, you believe the same beliefs we have. No, that doesn't matter. What matters is that you dumb goyim continue to put us at the top of the fucking heap. And it's out in the open. They flat out tell you that. Anti-Semitism is anti-favoritism, is anti-supremacy. And the thing is, in 2021, and I'm going to take credit for it, I think I've done a lot of shit that has, I've seen things before they happen. I called COVID before it happened. I called the governor's kidnapping plot, so to speak, happening. I called COVID the way it went out and the way it played out. I called that the whole time. I've been wrong about a couple of things. But I've earned this spot where I think it's highly probable that my individual efforts have affected them, have affected their perspective, have affected their efforts. And I say that because, a lot of times when you're in these shoes, you sort of feel like, what can I do? What can one person do to affect things? I'm too small, I'm insignificant. Well, I believe that I got the spelling of a word changed. Anti-Semitism was ANTI hyphen capital SEMITISM since inception, because that's what it was. It was, they didn't make anti-Semitism. They didn't come up with that term. That term was a term that was used by the forces that were against the Jewish control scheme. The same thing we have right now, just a more secretive version, so to speak, because they absolutely controlled the media back then. But for the last, I don't know how many years, it's been, at least 2016 or so, when I first thought about, you know, it's anti-Semitism, meaning anti is one word, meaning against. So what is Semitism? And upon looking that shit up, it made a lot of sense. It's not like I look up Semitism and it's like, you know, the belief in dragons flying around and picking up little dogs to make ceramics out of, you know, something ridiculous. It is as on the nose as could possibly be. Lucille Ball. I hate this chick. I don't think she's funny. I think, along with Carol Barnett, I think they're two of the least funny people. Like, it's just, if they weren't what they were, they wouldn't get to be who they were. Carol Burnett is Burnett. That show is so racist. But that's what they do. See, this is another like trick that they do on us. So you get guys like Don Rickles and Ari Shaffir who have this reputation for being somebody that's, you know, their whole comedy shtick is that they're racist, but they're universally racist, right? They're racist. They make fun of everybody. And is this the same? Is this the Eyes on the Prize? This is Eyes on the Prize. Is this the busing one? Is this about how in the 82, I think, Boston integrated its busing system and the black people that had white children come to their school completely embraced them and helped them and had, you know, did everything they could to make the transition nice for them, while the white community lined up along the bus route and threw rocks and shit at the buses as they passed. White adults were throwing rocks and anything they could find at school buses because black kids were on them. This is in the 80s, guys. All those people, those parents and shit, those are the grandparents today. A lot of those people are still alive. We always talk about how racism was so bad in the South. Racism so bad in the South. In the South. Shit's crazy. Like the open way we're racist, we communicate, we talk about, you know, like black people and white people and the differences and yada yada yada, all that stuff, and then the Jews get left out of it. Like I was saying, so then you have these comedians that, again, they make fun of everybody. They say horrible shit about everybody. And there's this example that I always go to, and it's the Comic Aid, Comics Live, whatever it was, where Whoopi Goldberg and Robin Williams and Billy Crystal put on that comic relief telethon thing where comedians came and raised money for African children. Who fucking knows? I don't know. But they had Don Rickles. Don Rickles was like one of the closers. Can I have you get me a thingy, please? Was one of the closers. And they bring him out, and his mic doesn't work. And so he turns, and like a stagehand has a microphone, a black guy has a microphone for him. So the black guy comes walking out real fast and gives him the working microphone. So Don grabs the working microphone, turns, takes about 5 steps, and then turns around and throws the broken microphone off to the side and says, "Fetch!" And the audience is like, "Oh, boo," you know, and he's like, What? Oh, don't boo me. Bullshit. Don't boo me. Blah, blah, blah. He says, "I make fun of everybody. I make fun of the blacks. I make fun of the Mexicans. I make fun of the Jews." Well, not so much the Jews, but... And that's you know, Ari Shaffir, when you look up his comedy special, he makes fun of the Jews by saying how much richer they are than everybody, how much smarter they are than everybody, how much meaner they can be, and how much disdain they have for us. Those are the jokes he makes. He doesn't make like they're horrible people jokes. He doesn't, talk about what shit, physically shit people they are or anything. He doesn't do that. Let's see. Comic relief. Here we go.
Oh, that was the other guy.
Oh, that's funny.
There's a new thing
Oh, they
called
must have cut that shit out because this is 7:39 and well, let's see. Maybe they'll show it here.
We now return to the best of comic relief.
We have someone else coming right now. When they ask me if there's anyone I really want to have on the show, someone particularly I'd like to see who'd never been on the show before, I can only think of one man. However, Geraldo was spending the weekend with Raymond Burr.
Ha! Ha! That was funny.
And Saddam Hussein is, of course, exclusive to Fox. So, instead, we got this guy, the last of the great beloved entertainers, a man whose name is synonymous with warmth, graciousness, and good feelings.
Amen.
Yes, girl. Mm-hmm.
So stupid. I mean, you think like they make fun of her, but she has to say amen. Amen. Clown.
Mr. Don Rickles.
Okay, watch. Watch this, sweetheart. I've talked about it enough. You should see it for once. Did they just cut it out again? They did. Holy shit, they just cut that bit out. What?
We now return
For good feelings.
Amen.
Oh, that was the other guy.
See, that the other guy that he's talking about is the guy he did the microphone thing to. They cut this shit out.
That's crazy.
Why do you think they cut it out?
Because it's racist as fuck.
Wow, that is so fucked up. It's much more fucked up to me that it's cut out on every example. That like I don't, I expect that from him, but that it got cut out is just so that's so fucked up. Let's see. Throws Mike Ruffo. Let's see if they show that. Well, it comes right up.
As you do before I make fun.
Oh, no, I guess I was wrong. It was later on. Okay, so they didn't cut it. Here you go. So whatever they did broke the mic. Okay, so here I was wrong. Well, I was wrong.
What a treat. This was my dream to help the homeless.
Yeah, he dropped the mic to help the homeless. This was my dream to help the homeless. And then he's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. But I was wrong. They didn't cut it. So here you go. Watch.
Go get it. Now, I'll tell you this.
Go get it.
Oh, pull your ass. I didn't ask you in here. He's free for crying out loud. Abraham Lincoln was a Jew, and we said, free the mother, free the mother. I make fun of the blacks, I make fun of the Jews. Well, not really. I'll tell you this.
Apparently, Facebook is back up.
Why is that?
What a piece of shit. I mean, he just show me something that's I I challenge you guys, man. I challenge you to show me Richard Pryor being funny. I challenge you to show me Red Fox being funny. Show me the shit. Have me see it and it be funny for like I laugh. I think it's funny. Tell me what comedy special to look up, because every single thing I've ever seen from those guys is just cringy, and like it seems like the black guy playing it up for white people to think it's funny
I don't know what this means.
while pretending it's
Saying it sent it to the S23.
well, it's I don't know. I don't know. This whole thing is so fucked up. This whole thing is just so fucked up. I'm so sick of feeling like I have to be edited because of one group. Like, I talk about how much I can't stand what's been done to black people and who black people have become, and it's embarrassing to be black and all these, like, it is. I don't have a problem with that. I can't stand Christians. I can't fucking stand their nonsense. Their beliefs are nonsense. Their approach is nonsense. Everything about them is just fucked up nonsense. You know, I white people, the racism, the you know, just the stupidity. I can't stand it. And these are all things that we're allowed to talk about. As soon as you start saying, I'm sick of the Jews having all the money and the power, that's somehow off limits. That's somehow a bad thing. You're crossing the line and saying negative slurs when you say something along those lines. How is it a slur to have, you know, all the money, all the power, all the control? How would that possibly be a slur against your people? Especially when you make up such a small portion and you're so weak and you know, just disgusting. How you know, that's an accomplishment. That's an accomplishment, but nobody, you know, nobody. It's strange how these things are never said. Like, I would give anything to be given the platform that John McEnroe was given. You know, when he said the thing about Serena Williams, I'd get anything. I would love to be the purported bad guy. You know, when the news is saying, you know, we have a interview with the bad guy who believes this and that, I would love to be that guy. And if it meant everywhere I went from here on out, people would look at me and be, man, we don't like you. We heard what you said. I'd be willing to risk it. I just don't see that as being what happens. You know, I don't see how that would, how I would look bad in that. I mean, you know, the things that I talk about are truth. And the reality is, if you're opposed to anything I'm talking about, you're the asshole. Nothing I say is bad. Nothing I say is wrong. Eliminating religion is a good thing. And the thing is, if you deny it, you don't really have an example of. You don't have an example of why. This is it. Hold this. Pay attention
Looks
to the
like-
screen. Really interesting story.
To what screen? I don't know what he's talking about. It looks like they're working on it because now the login to Facebook is different than it was when I tried 10 minutes ago. So they are making progress. Oh. It's really weird. It was really sunny this morning and then it rained. It got sunny for a minute and now it's cloudy.
It's beautiful though. I love the smell when it's like this. I love everything. It's my favorite kind of day.
I know, I feel like we're being duped because we're going to get snow once more.
I don't believe this guy's balding. Do you?
Father John.
Do you think he's balding? I can't really tell.
A scene of children coming to school with their books, very intense, and I think they also understood the politics, just what was all going on here.
We came in from the Howard Avenue side, and we had to go through barricades to get to the school, and you look up and on the rooftops across the street from the school, the cops were with the helmet gear, and the playground was converted into a precinct.
Precinct.
Walking up to the school, you have mass confusion. You have the community people out there. You have the UFC.
These are all children.
It's amazing.
Whoa.
And you just went to school.
The teachers who remained in the classroom looked for new ways to teach the basic skills. Some also brought a new cultural
Never seen
awareness.
deep like that.
And today we're going to talk about the Yoruba culture of West Africa. We can trace, if we could trace our ancestral line back, most of us would go back to the Yoruba tribe.
If we could trace our ancestral line. I swear, like, I see stuff like this and I just think, man, this is all their control. They like seeing black people dance and sing and
Black teachers didn't do
Well, I mean, if you had a choice of watching white people or black people
our
dance,
perspective
especially
of
back
looking
then.
at things. We were
Which
no
would you prefer?
longer members of a small community.
But
depends on
dancers.
what we're looking at.
Broughton to W.E.B. Du Bois, his readings.
W.E.B. Du Bois. A fucking boule.
H. Rap Brown.
Everybody she's naming are boule guys who didn't give a shit about the people.
International.
Especially
And
not
it was
women.
a good thing because black people are the third world.
And
Third world is much
LGBTQ
Right.
plus women.
But the whole idea of the boule was like, it wasn't about elevating black people. It was about elevating certain black people. Right. Rich black men. Well, and women. Women were included in that. Not
Maybe to serve the sandwiches.
not really.
I'm sorry, you want to snuggle. I need to eat.
Like, this is crazy. This is not long ago. That's what people just love to forget. Why do black people have such a hard time letting go of all that shit? Why don't black people just let it go? Like it's gone. Like everything's good now. The reason I get texted is because they're too scared. They know that the things that they say to me would get them in trouble. So they have to text it to me because nobody can report that or you know, their little Facebook spiders can't find that shit. But that's the best they can ever do. A bunch of racist nonsense, like oh ouch, ooh ow, racist nonsense, ooh oh talking about my wife, oh no talking about my kids, ooh ow. Why don't you just debunk what I'm saying?
That the overwhelming majority of the teachers in New York City are of the Jewish faith. We have become the butts of their resentment, and it is, I think, but one simple step.
Because Jews are really racist.
Jewish people, since most of the teachers are Jewish.
I didn't feel then, and I don't feel now, that anti-Semitism was a major part of that situation.
It wasn't. It had nothing to do with it, but the Jews have to make it about them. And why were all the teachers Jewish? That wasn't an accident.
Yes, there will be scars.
Got to talk to the Reverend.
Because there have been so many untruths floating around, but people must, the kids must be heard.
Again, it's crazy because you're not allowed to say, yeah, well, the Jews are really racist. He can't just say that. He can say white people are racist.
It's unfortunate that scars must come, but we have had 300 years of scars. It's about time those scars were healing.
The community board refused to
300 years, now 400 years, even though it's not that much later.
Are here. The teachers are here. White and black teachers are here. There are some white teachers who are supporting us. We're grateful to all of our friends and all people who believe in fairness. Come here, children. Come here, children.
Can you imagine what it's like for these kids to be going to school through this? What do you think? They just went through this and then went and played fucking dominoes later?
the Ocean Hill-Brownsville Community Board.
Mr. McCoy has indicated to me clearly that he intends to obey the directions of the suspended Ocean Hill-Brownsville Board.
Go figure, it's always some fat white guy. Or
It is necessary, therefore, for me to relieve Mr. McCoy of his duties.
I mean, again, it's like all of this shit didn't just happen this way.
Blacks and Latinos protested the city's withdrawal of support for community control of schools.
Educational colonialism. They took over the school again. We were here with our people trying to run our school. Now, in defiance of that, the white community said, you gotta cool it, man. Oh, until we can give it to you. They're not gonna give us a damn thing. We're gonna take what belongs to us. We're gonna take what belongs to us.
The city and the teachers' union agreed. The experiment must end. The community board's power was taken away. The neighborhoods were moved by the struggle of the Ocean Hill. New York's 5 boroughs, thousands marched for community control of schools.
There was a lot of disappointment on the part of all of us, and I think we felt extremely bad. We had put an awful lot of effort into this. But I think this was...
An awful lot of effort. Why did the whole population talk like Jewish people? Oh, because the Jews were the teachers. Imagine how different that was. All these black kids going to school and then hearing their teachers talk like this and make the Jews sound like they're the most persecuted people in the world. And they're looking around like, you guys have everything. What are you talking about? Yeah, when does this happen? This used to happen all the time back then. They sure did make us docile. I'm sure the fluoridation, the fluoridating of the water came shortly after this. It started in Grand Rapids, Michigan. You don't see this shit anymore.
Headquarters in support of the community of Ocean Hill-Brownsville.
There was a lot of people yelling black power, power to the people. Power to the people I like. Because
Dolores Torres.
people go into any poor neighborhood, regardless of the ethnic makeup, go through the same thing. I like power to the people.
I like power to the people. I didn't like black power. Black power is too scary.
To
How did they do this before cell phones? How did they do this before computers and all that? How did they organize all that shit? I always think that's the weirdest thing. How this organization happened all over the country where all these different people were all doing the same sort of thing. In a system where, the system told them it was wrong to do that. It's not like everywhere they went there was all this support. There was never any support. I mean, it's I think it's strange. I think when I look at most of the history that we're given, it just doesn't make much sense. It's like there's so many leaps of faith that have to be taken. And I have such little faith anymore. I'm a guilelist. It's weird that they're showing this, and it's isn't it March? Yeah, it's March 5th.
You're watching PBS.
I wish they'd show the other one. The other one's the one I saw, part 3, I believe it is. I don't know if that's part 1 or what. But yeah, as an prize part of people. 66 to 68, so it can't be. That has to be part 1. Anyway. No. They're not going to show that next. I was hoping they'd show that next, but they're not. So. All right. See you.